I think overall, I get lucky with the people I interview, and you're definitely one of those people who know how to speak, as evidenced in kind of the previous
Yeah.
videos we've done and the breakdowns and all that. So,
And it's a I think a lot of people don't understand too. It's an art to being to speaking. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? Like especially when you're being interviewed, whether it's like a job interview or something like this, or like just speaking in general is like when people aren't really comfortable with speaking, you'll hear them kind of just blurting, you know what I'm saying? Like blurting out a lot
yeah,
of different, you know what I'm saying? So I mean,
yeah,
but like I said, being in the military and stuff,
that's
I
a
know.
whole nother topic, man. We might have to
Yeah, I
get
know.
into. But I feel like, because I was trying to, as you were saying it, I was like, how do I work this into it? Hey, you're a really good speaker. You like, so condescending. Like, how'd you learn how to speak?
It's hard because it's like I mean there is because there I do have a history with with public speaking and things like that. So it's like even when I was my grandfather, he would make me speak in front of people in church when I was like 6.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like whether it was like reading scripture or doing like announcements, like it was very important for him to like do that for me. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So it was like speaking in front of people and reading in front of people and stuff like that is like nothing to me. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Now at this point, you know what I'm saying? Whereas when I was a younger kid, I was like, why he always putting me in front of people and want me to read and stuff like that? But it was like he wanted me to not be afraid of public speaking because what happens is when you get older and you do have to do those rare instances where you do have to speak in front of people or be able to articulate yourself in front of 3 or 4 people, whether that's at work or school, you're uncomfortable because you never did it before, you know what I'm saying, or you haven't done it enough, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Then you get a lot of the blabbering, a lot of the and stuff like that. So
it
yeah,
shows,
right,
man. It shows.
right.
When it comes to the maturation of rap, the Black Thoughts, the Lupe Fiascos, the Jay-Z's, and when I think of someone who embodies that spirit of intellect and principles, and when I think of the ways in which music can evolve and live in different spaces, NoFace Rapper is somebody who comes to mind. And there are very few artists moving the way you do in terms of making music that doesn't compromise integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, NoFace Rapper, how you doing, man?
Hey, wow, I wasn't prepared for all of that. What's going on, bro?
Hey, man, doing well. Just trying to make it. Just trying to make it. Um, First of all, I appreciate your time, man. I know there's a lot that you got to balance. You're definitely focused, as evidenced in the last few EPs that you put out. Before we get into your recent releases, and that's plural, talk to us about how you came to be No Face Rapper.
I mean, there's been a lot of different names that I've had that I won't go into, but
Sure.
but for real, honestly, it was probably due to when I've been rapping since like I was like 16, 15, like high school. And what happened was honestly just life. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to do something. So I ended up going to college. I ended up joining the military because real life happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I didn't have like an option to kind of just stay home and do music. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You know what I'm
sure.
saying? So it was like I had to get to it. Like my grandfather was very adamant on me doing something, you know what I'm saying, after high school. So I would write raps and stuff like that in between. It wasn't really until about I would say until I was about maybe 25, 26, where it was like, okay, like, what I'm saying, I need to decide if I'm gonna like keep playing with it or there's something I'm gonna like try to pursue as a as a real thing. Um, No Face Rapper was kind of birthed because just because of some of the values I have just pertaining to like I don't, I'm saying, I'm not someone looking for fame and grandeur, you know what I'm saying? I'm really just trying to make, honest music that comes from the heart, as cliche as that sounds, and heart from the soul. And being No Face Rapper is like, okay, like I'm just like kind of like MF Doom, some of MF Doom's principles, where it's like, don't worry about what I look like or what I'm wearing, just worry about what the music. That's always gonna be the forefront. And I like the comma rapper because it's kind of like when you would say somebody's name like a doctor, you would say, such and such, comma MD or whatever. So it's like No Face, you know what I'm saying? And then comma rapper is like my position. So
Absolutely. Something you said brings to mind some recent events that we've seen um, regarding artists and their safety, sometimes even their fandom. Some of these celebrities have cult followings, you know, crazed stands, so to speak. I wonder if any of that influences your um, the value that you put in fame or don't put in fame. Does that at all influence the way you plan on moving in the future? Because you bring up anonymity and things like that. So
Yeah, I just never like, to me, like, just the idea of fame is just so bizarre. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a very um like, for one, I mean, I feel like a lot of the reasons why people get into entertainment or rap in general is for attention. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're constantly trying to get attention. Look at me, look at my project, look at my video, look at my, you know what I'm saying? Like, to the point where it's like, you do get to that elevated position or whatever, and you probably may have not made some of the best business decisions to get to that point, and then you're at that point, and then it's a constant scrutiny, every word you say, every action you make, and that's not the way I want to live. You know what I'm saying? Especially now, you know what I'm saying? Now that I have a wife and a son, it's not that important to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would rather, have a average living. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need much. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me like average living. You know what I'm saying? Make sure my bills are paid, and we can go to nice restaurants and vacation every now and then.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's honestly, that's good enough for me. I don't want stands. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like. I think that's just so weird. I mean, and I understand, like, a lot of them are kids and things like that, but I think now, especially with some of the content that's been dropping recently, like Lil Nas X, Satan shoes, and saying things like that. It's just like, you got to be careful. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you have to take into, that's a big responsibility, whether you want it or not. And I don't want all that responsibility. You know what I'm saying?
oh yeah, I hear that, man. I hear that. Speaking of family, man. Speaking of life. Fast forward to 2021. You're a husband. You're a father. You got a beautiful family. You work a full-time job, and you still manage to carve out space and time to create, and not in a way that's haphazard or sporadic, at least from the outside looking in. But in a way that reflects a level of intention and diligence. I'm hoping you could tell us about how you go about making time for music while at the same time showing up for those personal responsibilities.
Time management, bruh. For real. For real. It's really just, I mean, it's very intentional, because time is the most important currency. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, time with my wife is needed. You know what I'm saying? You understand that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? You have to spend time and have those intimate moments with your spouse to keep a good marriage. And then you also have to have, time with your children to make sure you're building that relationship. And especially at what I'm saying, when they're young. My son is 2, and he doesn't understand, like, yo, dad's got to work, or dad's got to work so we can make money, so we can have our bills paid, so you
right.
can have a house to run around in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He
yeah,
doesn't understand that, so he needs time to, be loved on and play with. And then also, I have to find time for the passions and things that I want as well. So it's really just time management. So if it's like, hey, you got an hour of free time before bed, you need to write something. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're inspired to write or not, you know what I'm saying? Like, or you don't necessarily feel the butterflies that you normally would feel, or the inspiration, like, you need to write something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
whether it's, what I'm saying, the best thing or the worst thing, you need to write something. I've been trying to look at rapping, especially writing, as more of a muscle these days, that, instead of something that I need to wait for. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
been helpful. That's been helpful for me.
Nice, man. Do you use any spreadsheets or journals?
Nah, but you know what? I mean, shout out to Google Tasks.
Mm,
I use that, and I just write down, what needs to get done that day, and the times I have, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've been trying to work out, you know what I'm saying, trying to lose weight and stuff like that. I'm just very intentional about what I'm using my time for or whatever. So it's like you got an hour, you need to do your workout, you need to write something. Even if I have 30 minutes to write something, you know what I'm saying? Like constantly get those creative juices flowing and you write something down, you know what I'm saying? And that can be used regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like even, you know what I'm saying, even if you may not necessarily feel like it's the best thing you wrote, but you never know how people are gonna receive it. You know what I'm saying? Like, which is what I've been seeing recently with the music I've been putting out, is some of the stuff I felt like it's like this is good, but this isn't like the hardest thing I wrote, but people like it. People enjoy it.
Yeah, I love that that openness to letting people receive the music how they receive it, because
Right.
you have your relationship with it, but then other people have their relationship with it. I imagine it's
Facts.
like having a kid. Like you have your kind of, you know, dynamic, and then they go out into the world and, you know, they have friends or they have antagonists or all this other stuff. That's dope.
Right.
I want to talk about the pandemic for a moment. I always relate the pandemic and its effect on people to this visual of a kid just slamming his fist on the board and sending all the pieces flying all over the place. And that, you know, some people are up and some people have been set back or halted
Right.
completely. Some artists are, you know, resorting to NFTs and virtual performances and tapping into different inspirations. Um, I'm hoping you could describe how the chapter has affected your process as an artist, if at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the beginning, 2020 was more about making sure that real life was good for me. You know what I'm saying? Like it was
Yeah,
more, it wasn't necessarily that myself, or I mean, there was like the threat of potentially my wife being laid off, but she ended up not being laid off.
mm,
A lot of her coworkers were laid off around her. So that part, you know what I'm saying? Like I have like my responsibilities as a husband and father, always that's gonna always come first before the music stuff. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So that's just for me. You know what I'm saying? My situation. So 2020 was more, once we got over that hump, then it was like, okay, I need to take this time and really, you know what I'm saying, analyze what I'm doing musically. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like for a long time I wasn't necessarily looking at my music like a business owner. You know what I'm saying? As somebody who sells music for business, like as a
yeah,
small business owner, and just watching some of my favorite artists, listening to, you know, people like Big Stowe on Twitter and some of the other people. It was like I really need to overhaul and look at what I'm doing, because what I'm currently doing isn't getting the desired result I want. Um, so once I figured what I wanted to do, it was like, okay, and this is write the plan up and attack. You know what I'm saying? Like it was something that was very important to me. Was I just don't think like first of all, I don't feel like I make streaming music. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't make music that's like gonna be played a bunch of times, not because it's not good, but I feel like the people who are using streaming a lot are looking for like the big hits. And then it's like, you can't really, like, it's streaming, whether people, want to admit it or not, in my opinion, it's just not for music discovery. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to discover the people that they don't want you to discover. You know what I'm saying?
mm.
Like, there's no way people are going to find NoFace Rapper on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's, I mean, it's just very unlikely. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if I was to have more streaming numbers than I do now, and on top of that, I just don't agree like with the system of streaming. So it was like I need to figure out how I can monetize without streaming. You know what I'm saying? So that was pretty much the quarantine thought process for me.
Yeah, man. That actually brings me to another thing that I wanted to get into, or well, that's exactly it. I mean, um, these streaming platforms are often mistaken for discovery and mistaken to access, and a lot of us have the idea that the more platforms you're on, then the more likely you are to be discovered by a passive fan. And we can get into the value of a passive audience later, but um, other artists such as yourself have discovered the value in exclusivity and ownership and distributing content straight to the consumer, whether it be on Bandcamp or on their own websites. And you've explicitly mentioned in your release that you want to, monopolize the content. So can you kind of talk about what your experiences have been so far? I'm not sure if the last Filthy was strictly Bandcamp or strictly on your own, but I know that this one is. Filthy 2
Yeah,
is
yeah.
all.
Filthy 2 is strictly Bandcamp.
Gotcha.
The first one was Bandcamp and my website. So for me, I mean, it's honestly, it's been really good. I mean, I dropped Black Gold. And I kind of said that was going to be the last project that was going to be on streaming because I wanted to give people like the chance to, um, know that, you know what I'm saying? And say, if you are on my streaming, if you are listening to me via streaming, this is for you, but we're going to transition over here. And I dropped some merch with it, as well, which did pretty well. Um, for me, it's just a matter, like I said earlier, it's just a matter of trying to be like a legit business owner. And you know what I'm saying? Streaming may work for other people, and the type of music that they make. But for me, I kind of felt like it just wasn't getting me the desired result. And even when you do, I mean, I see people, you know what I'm saying? This is no shade to anybody, you know what I'm saying? But it's like when you post, you know what I'm saying? These people post their Spotify numbers, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the year, it's kind of deceiving. You know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of like, okay, well, you got a million streams on Spotify, but it sounds sexier when you say it's a million streams, but it's not sexy when you say this is $2,000 to $3,000.
Right,
You know
right,
what I'm
right,
saying? And that's still a, you know what I'm saying, that's still a substantial amount of money. You know what I'm saying? If you're able to, you would have to do a million streams probably monthly
right,
to like live off that
right.
probably. You know what I'm saying? So which makes it a little bit more difficult. You know what I'm saying? Like, so in a year you got $3,000. That's not dope to me.
That's poverty.
Yeah, right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, uh so for me it was about how can I make money or whatever, how can I make money the way I want to make it and have it be a more intimate experience. For me also, I remember early on I had somebody buy, like, they bought a copy of my, I think it was the Winter Coat EP off iTunes or something.
Mm. For
And it
those
was
that don't know, when did it drop?
yeah, oh wow, that was 2000, that's like 2016. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? It might
Mm.
still be on my Bandcamp. But somebody bought it on iTunes, and it was like, I was like, wow, that's a booster. That's an ego booster, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Two things though is like, one, Apple, I think they take a cut of something, and you have no idea who this person is. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, somebody really, like, I'm grateful when somebody would do that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody would take the time because you don't have to buy it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think especially at that time, streaming was like still kind of ramping up and stuff like that. So somebody bought an album. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, but I had no way of contacting this person. I didn't know who they were. And to me, I thought that was like, that's whack. Like, this is somebody that I could potentially be able to contact, say thank you, and yeah, ask them some questions. What made you buy this? Why did you know what I'm saying? What about this made you buy this? Would you buy something else? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a missed connection, especially when you're independent on the come up. Every purchase counts. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything counts. So it's like, somebody just bought it out off the ether. You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
don't even, you know what I'm saying? It's like a weird process where it's like my website or Bandcamp is like, okay, I get an email address. Uh, I know I can see physically like who bought it, and I can reach out to them and message them based on the platform, and it creates more of an intimate relationship where I can speak to this person, they can speak to me, and that I can uh, foster a better relationship with them. Whereas on streaming, you got all these people streaming, you have no idea why they're streaming the music. You don't know if somebody just told them about it and they streamed it once or twice. You don't know how much you're getting paid per stream. I think on Spotify it's approximately like 200 to 300 streams for $1. And it's like, to me, I feel like I can get one person to give me $1, then get 200 to 300 streams for $1. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So it's like it just depends how you look at it. That's how I look at it.
definitely. And as you mentioned, it's not just the money, it's kind of like the analytics. It's
Right.
insight into the transactions, which is something that you do not get on these other platforms that you don't own, that you have no equity in, that you are giving the value to. So I
Facts.
appreciate you dropping that gem, because I think that's a nuanced point that a lot of people kind of gloss over when making these decisions. So that's part of the cost. You pay your monthly fee, or you pay your annual fee, or your per project fee to get onto these platforms, but you also sacrifice that visibility. So super
Definitely.
important. Um,
Definitely.
I want to talk about your consistency, man. It's April 3rd. We're barely 4 months into the year, and you've already dropped your third EP of the year. And from the outside looking in, there seems to be a sense of urgency, determination, inspiration, maybe even a combination thereof. And I'm hoping you can go into where this momentum came from. Maybe this is something that you planned, well in advance, and perhaps talk about what you envision it leading to.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like I have to if I'm gonna go out and kind of do this on my own without, you know what I'm saying, without using the streaming platforms, I need to give people um more incentive to buy into the brand. And also too, I think it keeps my name out there, because I mean, you're fighting, like, I mean, I know we have, like, our competitiveness with other artists and stuff, but realistically, I'm not competing with other artists. I'm competing with people's time. You know
Mm,
what I'm saying? Like, I'm competing against Netflix. I'm
mhm.
competing against Disney Plus, other artists, you know what I'm saying? Freddie Gibbs, like
Yeah,
Jay-Z, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like YouTube, podcasts, like, it's so much stuff that's being uh thrown at people. It's like you're competing for somebody's time in a day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how can I compete? And for me, I'm normally the type of person that would like really take his time and craft something immaculate as possible, like immaculate piece of art that I took like a year to make or whatever, and every word is carefully, placed and things like that. But that hasn't worked for me in the past. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I would rather give people small, you know what I'm saying, a lot of substance and a small amount of time. You know what I'm saying? Which is why like a lot of the songs on Filthy 1 and 2 don't have a hook. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I want to show people that I can give you. I feel like I'm giving people more content and substance in these verses than people are giving than these other artists are giving in their songs, like at all, like with a hook. You know what I'm saying? And it has a purpose. Everything has a purpose. I know they may not be giving substance, but this is my lane. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I give. And I feel like the more I can continuously and consistently show that, the better. You know what I'm saying? I've been able to see the results of that. I've been getting my Bandcamp followers up. People are visiting my site more and stuff like that because of my name is constantly out there. So that's the plan.
yeah. You're doing it, man. You're doing it, and I appreciate it.
Right. And
I was,
some of the more intimate
yeah,
details.
yeah, 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 man. Absolutely. And I don't know, man. I was on a walk yesterday, and I was thinking about like some of the guys that I came up with, that I started with, in that high school age, and
Mhm.
I was like, man, I'm still out here. You know what I mean? I'm still making time to some capacity for this thing that I love doing. And when I look at you, when I look at 90, when I look at the guys that I respect and I'm actually a fan of, it's dope to see you still out here on the cutting edge of, what your story is, and still pushing it forward, man.
Word, man. It's definitely a journey, and I'm learning to enjoy the journey, and also enjoy the small wins. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've had, just this beginning of this year, you know what I'm saying, just a small amount that I have done, I've been able to reap some of the benefits of just stepping out and doing something different, or just doing something new that I haven't done before.
Yeah.
So definitely.
Yeah. Sometimes being able to do that is even more rewarding than, the stuff that comes after it, the validation and the external, you know what I mean? Keep
Right.
going, thumbs ups and all that. So
And like, even with the merch thing was kind of scary, because it was like that's something that is like, that's very transactional, to where it's like you either sell a shirt or you don't. You know what I'm saying? It isn't like, well, I got this person to click on their Spotify to listen to the song. You know what I'm saying? It's like you ask somebody to buy a shirt, they're either gonna buy the shirt or not buy the shirt. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I didn't meet the goal of exactly what I wanted to sell, but I made it over the halfway hump and I did sell some shirts. So that was dope.
I applaud you for doing that because that's something that I've never touched. There's
Yeah.
the performance aspect of it. There's all this stuff that encompasses the path of an artist, and that's one that I've never done. For the fact that it is scary, it is a risk,
Yeah.
and whether it's looking like you failed to the outside world or feeling like within yourself that you didn't meet a certain metric, to be able to go out
Right.
there and invest in yourself is something that I'll always respect, man,
Definitely.
all the time. I want to talk about entering the NoFace Rapper ecosystem because you have such a wide, array of work. You've got 12 music videos on YouTube. You've got all this music online that's available. So newcomers will find very quickly that you have this consistency and depth. If each release came with some sort of theme, some sort of message or chapter, what would the theme or the chapter be for the Filthy EPs or even all the music you've dropped this year in general?
Wow. I think at least for this year, it's I would say probably I would say growth, business growth, because I feel like my projects previous to this year were mainly based in like artistic value. Like I was trying to be the most artsy guy, the most creative guy. And I still feel like I'm one of those guys, you know what I'm saying? But I felt like it wasn't as much emphasis placed on the business part of it, which is why I didn't get the results that I wanted. You know what I'm saying? So it's like to I think one thing is consistent throughout all of my music, and that like there's always going to be a balance of substance of things that matter to me, and there's going to be fly bars, fly talk, you know what I'm saying? Like it's going to be all of that because balance is important to me. But I think for this year specifically is people are going to say, okay, this is where he set himself apart, and became more focused on the business aspect and being an ownership. Right.
That might answer this next question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I want to give you the opportunity to answer it. Given the perspective you've gained, the experiences that you've been through in your life, and this is the cliche question that they drop in every interview. What are some words of wisdom you would give to that younger version of NoFace Rapper who's just embarking on his musical journey, whether he would listen or not?
um yeah, I would definitely say try more things. There's things now that I feel like I would try, but I just don't have the time to try. You know what I'm saying? Like I wish I would have gotten more into production. um I wish I would have, like, even with the vlog I was doing with my locks. It was like I don't do it anymore, but the things that I've learned from it, like just more about editing videos, editing, you know what I'm saying, like speaking and for being more comfortable in front of a camera, because I'm not, you know that.
Same, man.
I'm just not. But when I was doing I was doing those vlogs and talking in front of a camera more, it was like becoming like more of a comfortable thing, you know what I'm saying? So I would definitely say try more things and really focus on the business aspect. If you're legit trying to make like money off of this, whether, you know what I'm saying, whether you want to do it full time or part time, whatever, really focus on what you're going to do to set yourself apart. Because as an independent artist, like, I have no idea what's going on with, you know what I'm saying, like I know everything. I know it's a system on the major label thing, and I'm not in that system, so I have to figure out what works for me. um and I feel like doing owning my website and doing Bandcamp puts me in a better position for the long run. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily now, but for the long run, it's definitely gonna put me in a better position, because you want people to value your music. You want people to value your music and the things that you're selling. And people will never value music on streaming. You just can't. It's impossible to value it, because I paid $10 and I have access to all the music, you know what I'm saying? All of it. And I can listen to it when I want, you know what I'm saying? But it's like when somebody actually gives you $3 or 5 or 10, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever they got. And that's more of a, that's value. You know what I'm saying? That's somebody really putting their value into you and investing into what they, you know, they really believe in you. You know what I'm saying? So, or they really like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna pay $5 for something you don't like, especially music when you don't have to. You know what I'm saying? Especially from some guy that, you know what I'm saying, from some rapper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's on Bandcamp. So it's like I would say definitely focus more on the ownership on the business side and consistency for sure.
I gotta remind the audience that I'm not just a collaborator. I'm a No Face fan, and as I said before, man, it's been very exciting to watch you come with such a level of consistency this year. It's inspiring me for sure, and I'll be taking some notes. You know what I mean, learning from your successes. I appreciate having a front row seat to it and being able to kind of shed some light on you, and hopefully, you know what I mean. As you grow as a human, your music only gets better, and I applaud you for it. With that, I'd love to open the floor for you to let people know how they can find you, and if you have any messages or thoughts that you'd like to leave the people with. I think now would be the time.
Bet, man. Yeah, nofacerapper.com, nofacerapper.bandcamp.com. All social media is at nofacerapper. I guess a message. I mean, I am one of the nicest in Virginia, in the world. You feel me? Like, if you like, honestly though, if you like content, if you like dope rap, if you just like hip hop in general, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you want style and substance put together, that's me. You know what I'm saying? No face, comma rapper, Virginia.
My man. And I second that sentiment of you being one of the nicest, man. That's
Hey,
that's
man.
that's why I always
Oh,
give you my time and energy and whatever resources I got, man. So I
word.
appreciate your time, and I'm terrible at ending interviews, so I guess this is the end. Appreciate you,
Bet.
man.
All right, bro.
Face. Filthy too. Killer Kane, what up? NFL. Look.